Hi, I'm Tina. I'm a certified nature and forest therapy guide, and I did something that totally changed my life, and I want to share it with you. A few years ago, I was going through what was probably the most intensely stressful time of my life. It was really hard to wake up every day and keep going and feel like everything was going to be okay. So I started doing this practice called Sit Spot. Sit Spot is super simple. It's just finding a place outside that feels comfortable to sit and going and sitting there for 20 minutes, at least once a week. And just giving yourself permission to look around you and notice what's there and not do anything else. And it almost sounds too simple. Like, what could this possibly do for you? And why would 20 minutes once a week do anything? Like, something that powerful should actually take a lot more work than that, but it doesn't. When I started doing it, here are some surprising things that happened. Number one, I got to meet the ecosystem I live in. I already sort of knew it. I'm really lucky to live in a place where there's lots of trees and plants and trails, but I lived here for several years before I started doing this, and I didn't actually really know all the plants around me, all the creatures that live here. So when I started sitting and noticing what was around me, I started noticing really specific plants and getting curious about them. And as I was curious about them, I could sort of look them up and be like, oh, that's this plant, that's that kind of fern. And what was really cool is because I was going back every week, the really specific individual plants around me started to grow and unfold and go through their life cycle. And I had never just spent time with a plant as it was doing that. And it was really powerful. And I started to learn a lot about all the things around me. The second thing that happened was really cool because the forest started doing the same thing to me. As I kept coming back every week, I could tell that the forest was getting used to my presence. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes of sitting or being still in nature for everything to go back to baseline. And that means the thing that was happening in the forest before you showed up. So when you're just walking through, hiking or whatever, going fast, walking in a park, the birds and everything that are singing and tweeting and all the animals that are rustling in the bushes, they'll get quiet when you walk by because they think you might be a predator. But once you sit there for a while, everything realizes you're not a threat. And so all the birds will start singing again, and the little animals and squirrels might come and check you out. After going to my sit spot a few times, it seemed like it was taking a lot less time for the forest to go back to baseline. And I really think that there were animals that were frequenting the area where I would sit that kind of just got used to me. There were a couple of squirrels that used to go and chirp at me angrily when I first started sitting. And after a while, what I'm pretty sure were those same squirrels would just sort of come and check me out. And then there was an owl family across the pond that I noticed coming and going a lot more from their little nest. And there was even a river otter that showed up in the pond that I was sitting next to come and check me out. And this is the kind of thing we just end up missing when the only time we're spending outside is spent moving through a space instead of just sitting in it and paying attention. So the third thing that happened was maybe the most powerful thing. I was starting to experience a complete nervous system reset every time I came out. I would come into the forest, and most of the time I would be really triggered, really stressed out because of everything that was happening in my life. I was in my fight or flight mode. And after just spending a little bit of time sitting outside, I would walk out of the forest just feeling like everything was gonna be okay. I felt calmer. I felt like I could handle whatever was happening in my life. And I didn't even really have to try. I wasn't doing anything other than sitting and noticing and even just finding things that I enjoyed and was curious about. That's all I was doing. But the natural space was just doing its thing and working its magic, and it was giving me medicine that I didn't even have to work for. All I had to do was just spend some time. And there are a lot of reasons it works this way for us as human beings, and I'll probably get into that in another video, but I just wanted to share how powerful this one simple practice is. And you don't have to be in a forest like this. Again, you could just be on your back porch, in your backyard, and maybe even just a park that you live close to. If you can find a spot to be your sit spot, it's gonna be so powerful. So I wanna invite you to try this. Just 4 weeks in a row. Go 1 day a week for 20 minutes to your sit spot and tell me how it goes. Chances are you're gonna wanna keep doing it. Thanks for watching, friends. This is a baby channel, so like and subscribe for more nature connection.